name is Maciej Martinek. I'm a senior sales engineer working in Recorded Future. And it will be my pleasure today to organize a short tour guide and a short roleplay. So I'd like to welcome you all in Security Operations Center of a company called Norse God that is powered by Recorded Future and Clico. I will act as a Security Operations Center analyst, and I will show you how a day of my life in my job really looks like in here in my artificial company. So, just to put some intro on it, what is Recorded Future? Recorded Future is a cyber threat intelligence provider. We are a company that is focusing on collecting data from various different places, like open web, so everything you can find out there in the public internet, like social media, like messaging platforms, Telegram, GitHub, or other code repositories. Also deep web and also all the dark web resources, including dark web forums, including dark web marketplaces, including resources where people are auctioning stolen data. We are all plugged there to collect the data in a real time, index it into the platform, and then to deliver to our users as a finished intelligence, as an actionable intelligence, to make it indeed operational. And to increase, of course, and elevate the cybersecurity posture of the company. So, what we are doing here, we are building this one big database with our data lakes and our web crawlers spread all around the globe to collect data in real time and source it into something that we are proudly calling Intelligence Cloud, which is our proprietary term and the proprietary, we call it future standard of organizing and searching data to make it fast, make it efficient, and enable you to get all the mandatory intelligence you need to operate as soon as possible. We don't care about the source language in which the data comes to us. We don't care about the structure of it. What happens underneath really supplies that, so we can make it efficient. And I will show you it in a second how it really works. So, come, join us on this tour, see how a day of Norse Gods Online Security Operations Center looks like. So what I will do right now is, as we don't have too many tasks in our SOC, and we become to start being bored a little bit. So we start to thinking like, let's do something good for our company, and let's enable some kind of proactive measures to what we are really doing. So I'm looking into the Recorded Future platform to find out what is in there for me, what kind of threats I need to face, what kind of threats I need to mitigate, and how to do it later on. What I did is I'm logging into the Recorded Future platform and I'm opening the ransomware risk profile that was created for my company. Based on the intel we have, based on my company profile and who I represent as Norse Gods, and I can see some of the statistics of my most riskiest assets, most critical identities, critical vulnerabilities in my organization that were identified, everything that helps me prioritize some tasks and get information what I need to mitigate right here, right now, to really leverage the threat intel and mitigate and reduce the risk. So what I will do is I will do it in small baby steps. And at first, I will focus my attention on the bottom right thing that is up here that shows my top 5 prevalent ransomware groups. And it turns out that for my organization, the top 5 looks like this. Logbit, followed by DarkSide, Black Suit, Conti, and so on. So let's take a closer look and open what we know about the Logbit gang. So in a new tab, I'm opening something that we are calling intelligence card, which is nothing more like we can compare it to a social media profile of that threat actor, not containing, of course, fancy pictures, but containing intel we know about them, tools they use, campaigns they run, IOCs, methods, ransomware, and so on. And from this Logbit, I know quite a lot about them. AI is also supporting me if I need to write like an executive report for my stakeholders, giving them a hint on what we are doing here in our SOC if they ask questions like this. But what I would like to focus on in here is to go to their profile. And inside of their profile, I have a lot of hints on how do they operate in here. So let me open this one. And let's focus on this. This is Logbit attack chain. This is something that we know thanks to the stuff that we perform in terms of monitoring their operations, analyzing their campaigns, collecting all of those information. So I know what are the steps in their attack chain. So right now, let's focus on mitigating them in Norse gods. So let's start with the first play. Step number 1, initial access. So what I will do right now, for the initial access, I know that they are using VPN or RDP credentials. During the previous 2 sessions in this room, you've heard about stolen credentials, how to mitigate against them. Maybe my company is not ready enough to go into this, but somehow I need to protect myself. So knowing that they are here utilizing VPN or RDP credentials, let me see if I have in my organization victims that match that criteria. So what I will do is with one click, I would filter this visualization to show me only the risky artifacts and the risky observables from my organization from the perspective of Logbit gang. So you can see here I filtered them right now by this ransomware group. And I can see that I have here, indeed, some critical identities. And I have this user called Barry Baker. So let's find him over here, because it turns out that there are 321 findings that are matching my criteria. So let's go to them, and let's see. There are a lot of the stolen identities that got resolved, which is great. But if I scroll down a little bit, I can see here the ones for VPN, and this is my user, Barry Baker. Stolen credentials to the VPN. So if I open the playbook alert, I can validate those information and get some more details about it. So if I'm curious how this leak happened, what was the root cause, and if I am really in danger, if it's a true incident or false positive, I have here this data. So we are providing it, and let's take a quick look. So, okay, I have here the victim. It's a Barry Baker. Okay, what I will do, I'll probably check if this account is still active in my organization. Second of all, I know what resource was compromised. And this is quantumsecure.io/logonpoint, which is a resource owned by my company. So the credentials of my user to my resource got compromised. And if I scroll down a little bit, it turns out that we know that this particular resource is Citrix NetScaler Access Gateway of the category of VPN. So those credentials that were leaked are available out there for someone to take advantage of them, might be an entry point to my organizations for guys like Logbit gang. So what I need to do is I need to, based on that, validate if everything here matches, if this is like a true valid credential, and mitigate it. But I can do it only when I have sufficient intelligence that can allow me to get into those details and react before they breach my organization. And as you saw, we had plenty of examples like this. What you can expect from us is this level of details and also indication on why the certain leak happened. Because, okay, remediating it is one part, but eliminating the root cause is a second step. So here I see it happened thanks to the infection of this user's computer by infosec malware called LumaC2. So maybe my detections and prevention systems right now that are in place are not sufficient enough to prevent my ecosystem, my endpoints, from this threat. So this is another hint that I can take, that I can forward to like a strategical planning team to make some more decisions, or maybe put some additional attention on how those endpoint or other prevention solutions are configured, because maybe they are good, maybe they are not configured properly to defend my organization as if they were intended. So that's step number one. I already did something cool for my organization. I have some more spare time, so let's move to the step number two with the lateral movement. And I will go back to my hint. And in the lateral movement section, I can scroll down and see a lot of additional content around Logbit. Those are many things, how they develop, how they were changing over time, how their ransomware nodes look like. I can even tell you what is the average ransom in terms of price money that they are requesting from their victims. All the contact methods, everything that is here relating to T-codes, all their behaviors, tactics, malware that they are using, everything is packed in one content. So if I do the reading, which I don't have time for it right now, but believe me or not, if I just search for lateral movement, oh yeah, I can see that they're using some RDP protocols. Okay, that's fine. I can also see that they're using Cobalt Strike. Fine. Let's go back and let's map it to the track matrix, because we are also doing it. Let's scroll to lateral movement, and hey, I have a confirmation that you're using Cobalt Strike. So let's go back and take this intel and make it actionable for the context of my organization. I will start again from this ransomware profile that I have over here. I will go back to on the course of the last 6 months, and I will filter it again based on logbit. So the platform instantly knows and allows me to see that the Cobalt Strike and Metasploit are the top 5 prevalent early-stage malware that is being used by Cobalt Strike, by Logbit gang that I'm focused right now on. And we have seen some detections of the activities by this early-stage malware being present in my organization. So let's take a closer look at it. So I have here, thanks to the integration of Recorded Future into my existing tech stack, like my SIEM, SOAR, firewall, EDR solutions, I saw those detections. And I saw, okay, I found this IP address that turns out to be related to a Cobalt Strike as a C2 server that was identified in Splunk on the NetScreen firewall logs. And I have dozens of examples like this here. Quite a lot. But if I scroll down, I'm more than aware and I'm more than sure that, hey, this is like a serious threat to me right now. So Cobalt Strike is already present in my organization. So what should I do with this? And I have a couple of different options. What we also see here is this magic box that all the SOC analysts like, which is actions to consider. Because all the information in the world are cool, but cool is not enough. Something that is cool doesn't make your life easier and doesn't make your company more safe place. We need to use this information, and we need to use it nicely. And Recorded Future, frankly, is giving us something that we can take under the consideration to make it actionable and really take benefit out of it. And there are a few things. Identify the systems in your organization and request compromised host incident response. Okay, I can do it. I know I have it in my logs, in Splunk, or on my firewalls, or whatever. I can put it into the blocking. I can download and operationalize detection rules, like Sigma for SIEM, like Snort for IPS, IDS, or like Clara rules for my EDR, that I can download with one click and import into my respective solutions that are able to consume it. So I will increase the detection and prevention capabilities of myself in just a few clicks. Yeah? Of course, there is an assumption that our tools are able to consume those detection rules, but thankfully in NurseGods, we have them here. So that was quite easy. Of course, I can gather all of those IOCs, put them into the API endpoint and ingest them for blocking and put it in any different place of my environment where they should be blocked. On the DNS level, for the domains, on the URLs level, on my web proxy, on IP level, on my perimeter of network firewalls. Everything here is also doable, and you can precisely see instructions on how to do it in our actions to consider and our other materials, which makes it extremely easy to operate and extremely fast to, again, make one step ahead and elevate our capabilities in that phase. Cool. Lateral movement is done. I still have some time, so let's go to the step number 3, which is exfiltration. So I need to know how those guys are exfiltrating data. So let's go back to my cheat sheet over here, and let's see what does Logbit in the exfiltration phase. So I see that they're using a specific technique called exfiltration over alternative protocols, like WinSCP. WinSCP standardly uses SSH, as the protocol underlying for transferring data, transferring information outside to a known host servers that are the targets of my data transfer. I see that some other ones, but that really rings a bell here. So let's go back to my organization and let's see, from the perspectives of Logbit, if I have any here risky technologies that are being abused in my company by Logbit gang. And it turns out, hey, WinSCP is one of them. So what I will need to do with that? Again, I'm scrolling back to actions to consider. And we recommend close access to those services, to the legitimate apps and associated ports. So what I will do right now is I will make a quick call to my friends from the networking department that are operating one and only firewall called Palo Alto Networks to, hey, raise the ticket and enable WinSCP and SSH as a protocol and WinSCP as an application safely and create a bunch of rules that will enforce a proper usage. So something that is a CTI-driven way of implementing zero trust. Because, okay, I cannot block it entirely because there are legitimate users in my organization that are taking advantage of this application. But for all the others, I should consider it as risky. So I should really eliminate the negative impact of this. What I can additionally do is, let's have like a automatically created signature for me. We know the samples of the files that are abusing WinSCP. So let's find them and let's create a custom signature that will be created precisely for me that is catching it, so I can again import it to my respective solution and increase my prevention systems. So with the natural language, I will type here I typed in find all samples expecting data over SSH. Okay, on the course of the last 30 days. I'm clicking on search, and it found for me 118 unique samples that are matching my search criteria. So all those samples, like I will always also see the tags, like it's a Mirai botnet probably, like Black Moon or some others that are indeed doing it. So, okay, this information is cool, but right now I want to automate it and operationalize it. So I will mark all of them and ask the platform generate the automatically Yara rule for me. And I need to name it. Click. And it's being created for me over here. It takes a few minutes, so I don't want to waste your precious time on looking at it. But AI agent that is embedded into the Recorded Future platform will right now create the rule for me based on those samples, will create a unique patterns that are detecting the behaviors of the file samples that were initially abusing SSH protocol as an exfiltration path. So again, additional step that I can perform to mitigate the negative impact of Logbit guys and their TTPs in my organization. Again, quite easy, quite fast. Cool. And step number 4. I still have some time, I think, yep. So let's focus on other things and let's focus on the direction that is being spammed and flooded from all over the world in terms of monitoring the supply chain in the edge of the regulations that for all due respect to you, I won't mention them because you heard it too many times today, but I think all of you know what I mean. Monitoring the supply chain from the risk perspective. So we can also do that because we know who got hit. We know who got breached. We know whose data got exposed. So with all of that, we can map. And what we did in NorseGods, we have defined the list of our suppliers that we want to monitor, that are business critical to us, So to be aware if something bad happens to them that might impact us, we'll also know and we'll know first. So we can react on time, because time here is the most precious factor. So again, I'm going back to my ransomware risk profile. I will go on the course of the last 6 months, and I will focus on the 4th stage, the last one, that is called extortion stage over here. And I see here 4 different categories of findings. Like my organization as a primary victim on extortion side. I have here 0, which means that me and my colleagues in our security operation in North Gods are doing a quite good job, because we haven't been breached. That's good. However, as good we are as an organization, sometimes it doesn't matter. Just because we have been mentioned as a collateral victim 41 times on extortion sites. One time of our third party was a primary victim. And more than 166 times my third party was a collateral victim. And in those extortion data, business critical information, documents, sensitive data from my company could also be there as part of this breach. So let's focus on this one. And what we are providing to you, every single step of this can be alerted. So whenever there is a breach, whenever the data is being exposed on the dark web ransomware extortion sites, we are scrapping them all. And we are not only identifying the primary victim, that in this case were some of our suppliers that are listed over here, but also looking at the directories, the names of the files. We are trying to assess if this data is not related to any other company in the world. And it turned out that for some of them, Recorded Future was a collateral victim, because there were information, there were catalogs, there were files that were related to us. And every single one of them, if I want to go deeply into this, I can click Show in Table View. I'm pivoted back to our analytic engine results that shows this, and in View Analysis Report, I have dedicated link to the dark web, which I can take, I can copy here, and I can safely browse using our sandbox, just like this. And as it will also take some time, I'm having here an example of the screenshot of one of our victims. It's Globex USA. And with Recorded Future and our sandbox, you can safely browse dark web. So not only we create a copy in the platform, but if you really want to play around with the data, analyze them on your own, and you want to do it safely, or some regulations are even stopping you for doing it. It mainly touches some governmental or highly regulated industries. You can do it here. There is no evidence of you accessing it, but sometimes it's critical for you to have it. To safely browse it, enumerate extortion sites, validate the incident, and be sure how big the impact on us was, so we can then trigger some remediations, build a report that is summarizing what really happened, how it happened, who got infected indeed, and what is the results and the outcome for us quite quickly. So, just to sum it up, what we achieved so far in the 30 minutes of my free time that I had in my Security Operations Center as member of North Gods. We reduced the risk of the initial access. We had all of those stolen credentials. I know the victims. I know the entry points. I can act because I know where are the lost keys. And I know that I need to change those locks quite quickly to eliminate this risk. We implemented some static and dynamic detections based on detection rules and IOCs for any kind of lateral movement, any kind of exfiltration stuff that might happen, based on the intel we have on how the bad guys that are targeting my company are behaving. What we also did is we make a CTI-driven proactive approach, saying, hey, some legitimate applications are being also abused by those bad guys. So I don't want to eliminate them completely from my environment. I cannot do it, but I need to safely enable them, having a hashtag zero trust in mind, to do so. And last but not least, we secured the regulatory compliance. We are monitoring our supply chain. We know when and how something bad happens to them. And we can assess the impact it had on our organization. Also, without going out of the platform and in 30 minutes of my spare time. So, having all that said, having all that demonstrated, how do you like working in North God Security Operations Center? Was it fun? Was it easy? Yes, that's the spirit I like. That's the spirit. So, we are hiring in the North Gods Online. So if you want to join my artificial company, you're free to go. You're more than invited. But honestly speaking, jokes aside, I think I made my time. I'd like to thank you so much for your attention. Thank you so much for your presence. And glad you survived. Thank you so much.